What is up, family? It is that time once again. Welcome into my review of Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey.
Why did you say that name?
Marv, that's the name of the movie.
You will address it by its proper title, which is Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn.
Marv, they officially changed the name for a reason. I am not about to say all of that.
Well, technically you just did because I'm you.
Well, I'm not going to get into all of that. But anyway, for all those joining in, if you're not familiar with how I review things, we go through the good, the bad, usually some spoiler talk, but in this one, I think it's safe to say no spoilers required.
Why are you holding back? I'm pretty sure the audience will love those juicy details.
Well, I just think this is one of those movies that doesn't really require to really go into a lot of spoiler territory. We just, we can talk about it generally, and I think people will get the idea. So without any further delaying, let's go ahead and get into this review, and let's go ahead and start with the stuff that I did like about the movie. Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, I have to say, is easily the best thing about this movie. This is only the second time Margot has reprised this role, and I think now, as opposed to when she did Suicide Squad, that she's really found a center with this character. When you see this movie, you can tell she's having fun. The accent stays, it doesn't go in and out. You really feel like she's really embracing the whole essence that is Harley Quinn as a character. And that's something that really drives the movie. And it's really all I can really say as far as her portrayal as the character. You would think a lot of the moments in this movie wouldn't really require her to really do some really legit acting, but she does do some legit acting in this movie, and I have to give her props for that.
But FM, doesn't everybody do acting in this movie?
Always the smartass. Ewan McGregor as Black Mass, I think, does a really good job illustrating sort of that really fun but yet also psychotic side of the character. He really plays that up and you can tell that he is directed to play it up a bit more. And I think he's also having fun with it, and he does a really rather good job. And there's other points in the movie where it really requires him to really go into that dark part of the character.
So what you're saying is that Obi-Wan Kenobi goes over to the dark side.
Different franchise, Marv. Different franchise. Journey Smollett-Bell does a pretty good job here as Dinah Lance, aka Black Canary. So yes, her name is Dinah Lance, not Dinah Drake. Preferably, I would have gone with Dinah Drake, but hey, what's in a name? She has a pretty decent arc overall as far as the character goes and so on and so forth. And aside from the previous characters, Harley and Black Mass, she's one of the other compelling characters, even though she's not given as much to do as the rest of the characters, but she's more involved story-wise than I previously thought she would be. Also got to mention that the action set pieces in this movie, for the most part, are done rather well. It's very cool looking and super stylized, even to the point where on some occasions you're kind of like, was all that really necessary? But on the other hand, they kind of do it in a very fun way. So the spectacle of the fighting and the violence and the mayhem and stuff, it's all there. So 9 times out of 10, more than likely you're going to have fun with it. So anyway, I think that's about all the positives that I have when it comes to this movie. So let's go ahead and talk about the stuff that I did not like very much.
Considering he's a Marvel baby, I'm surprised it's not the whole movie he doesn't like.
I heard that, Marv. So, I told you guys what I didn't like as far as the movie goes, and a lot of it being the characters, which is Harley, Black Mask for the most part, and Black Canary. So, you're wondering, what is up with the rest of the characters in this movie? Well, I have to say that some of them weren't exactly memorable And that's just say the least. That's just kind of where I'm coming from with it. The only thing that I'll say that's not really a negative is that Rosie Perez as Renee Montoya, I think she does a pretty decent job, but she, among the rest of the characters, like Cassandra Cain, who does have a little bit more involvement, but it's just the overall purpose of the character, as well as Huntress, they really don't have that much to really bring to this movie. That goes double for Huntress or Helena Bertinelli, because I really find it surprising that out of all the characters, she literally has almost zero character development. Then you have Cassandra Cain, who's supposed to be this loner pickpocket kid who kind of gets in over her head with some stuff that she pickpockets. And just the whole idea of her character in this movie, she's kind of annoying.
So you're one of those comic book accuracy snobs, aren't you?
See, Marv, I know you're trying to troll me because you know good and well that I'm not. First of all, if they were going to do something different with the characters, the least they could have done was to try to at least make them interesting. As far as Cassandra Cain as a character, especially compared to her comic book counterpart, it's as further away from the source material as you can get. Another thing that was rather annoying with this movie is you can kind of feel the runtime, even though it's not quite at 2 hours. It's about 10 minutes short of that, roughly. But it's one of those movies where you can really feel the runtime because the way they set the movie up, they literally spend a little bit over 2/3 of the movie setting up. And that includes introducing the characters. The story kind of feels a bit jumbled too, because they're trying to take that Pulp Fiction approach where certain things are explained at different times of the movie other than when there was a good time to explain it, because they keep going back and forth, and that also makes certain parts of the movie replayed again. I think it was one particular part I think was replayed at least 3 times. I can't really recall, but it was just like, it got to the point where it just started becoming really repetitive. Lastly, one of the other issues that I noticed in this movie was there were a lot of issues with tonal shifts. Sometimes it's like the movie didn't know whether it wanted to be a comedy, a slapstick, or really serious and disturbing. A lot of the times, especially when it came to certain decisions or just character actions and whatnot, it just sometimes it really didn't fit together, and some of the editing was a bit choppy as well. So my overall thoughts going into this score: this movie isn't the most terrible thing I've ever seen, but it really failed to really leave a really good impression on me. I think if you're a really big Harley fan, you will get some enjoyment out of it with Margot Robbie portraying the character, because I think she really does Harley Quinn justice as a character. So I will say fans of Harley Quinn will love that. As far as everything else about the movie, though, aside from Black Mass, I think Black Mass was good for the most part, but some things with him kind of didn't really mesh well either. So it really depends on what your perspective going into this thing.
FM, just say DC trash. We know that's what you're trying to say.
I will not say anything of the sort because it would not be true. So with all that being said, Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey gets my marvelous score of 6.5 out of 10. It wasn't the worst movie I've ever seen, but it certainly is not the best. It's a very stylized movie. It has some moments, it has some positives to it, but overall, I don't think this is going to be the most memorable movie in the DC expanded universe. If they're even still doing that, I don't know. But it's just one of those movies where it kind of just comes and goes. Like, I honestly really don't feel like it was any better than Suicide Squad. I would say it's better than Suicide Squad in some respects, but all in all, like, I just kind of feel it was the same movie, just taking place a little bit differently. And also to add, with all this stuff taking place in Gotham City, where's Batman? I'm thinking, like, All this crap going on and Batman is nowhere to be seen. I guess he's just off with the Justice League doing something. So, I don't know. Sometimes you have to ask yourself that question because there's a lot of stuff that kind of goes unanswered in this movie. So guys, that does it for my review for Harley Quinn Birds of Prey. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to me ramble about this movie. And, you know, I'm looking forward to see what you guys thought about this movie. I know the review is a little late, but hey, I got in where I could fit in, and these are my thoughts, and there you go.
FM, you gotta stop using that baby as an excuse, bruh.
Yeah, you keep saying that, Marv. You'll see when baby boy gets here. So guys, until we meet again, you keep following my advice to go nerd, but nerd responsibly. You all take care, and I hope your 2020 is going with a lot of enthusiasm and all that good stuff. So, you know, help a brother out, like, subscribe, all that wonderful stuff. Check you guys later. I'm your boy, Fallen Marvel.
And I am Marv, and you're my prey.
And we're out. Pardon his creepiness. So, deuces.